Our next story is from Africa, from the West Africa region, where a number of events are making one thing quite clear. Russian influence is on the rise. We'll look at three recent incidents, starting with what's going on in Nigeria. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, and it has been rocked by protests since August 1st. The protests are an outpouring of public anger over bad governance. Nigeria is facing a cost of living crisis brought about in part by the president's policies. President Bola Tinubu. He removed a fuel subsidy last year, so fuel became expensive and it caused prices of other commodities to skyrocket. By June this year, inflation had crossed 34%. That's a 28-year high for Nigeria, and people are feeling the pinch. This is what led to the protests. Now let's pause here. So far, these problems seem completely domestic, a failure of Nigerian governance. That's what this is about. No role of an external player. But then, this happened during a recent protest. Those were Nigerian protesters waving Russian flags. They were seen demonstrating in the city of Kano, that's Nigeria's second largest city, located in the country's north. But that wasn't the only place where the Russian flag was seen. It was also raised in Kaduna by some defiant protesters.
We don't have a leader. We are the leaders. Now we don't have a leader. Someone is asking who gave us this flag? We sewed it ourselves. We don't like Tinubu. Tinubu must go. We want soldiers.
Russian flags were raised in several northern Nigerian states, and this has left the authorities worried. Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff had an emergency meeting with President Bola Tinubu, and then he issued a threat.
All of us have seen it, where some foreign flags have been flown within the sovereignty of Nigeria, and that is totally unacceptable. We are warning in clear terms, and the President has also said we should convey this, that we will not accept anybody, any individual flying any foreign flag in Nigeria. That is a treasonable offense, and it will be viewed and treated as such.
Waving Russian flags in Nigeria will be considered treason. About 40 people have already been arrested across northern Nigeria. This includes the tailors who sewed the flags. And that's not all. Some foreign nationals have also been picked up. 7 Polish citizens have been detained, a lecturer and 6 students. But Poland says that its citizens were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. This seems like a knee-jerk reaction by Nigeria, but maybe they have a reason to be scared because Russian flags have been flown in West Africa before. In Nigeria's neighbouring country, Niger. This happened last year, while Niger's military orchestrated a coup. Last July, Niger's military took over the country, and the junta cut ties with its traditional Western partners, like France. The French were ousted. And in their place, the junta chose to ally itself with Russia. In fact, Niger is not the only country to have experienced this. It's the same story in Burkina Faso and Mali. They also went through coups in recent years, and their new military governments also allied themselves with Russia. In fact, in recent weeks, the West African nations have gotten even closer to Moscow.
Following the acknowledged and assumed involvement of Ukraine in the characterized aggression against Mali, the transitional government of the Republic of Mali decides to take the following measures. The immediate cessation of diplomatic relations between the Republic of Mali and Ukraine, the latter whose destinies are unfortunately entrusted to puppets, confusing the international scene and the theatre.
Mali has cut ties with Ukraine. It cut ties after Ukraine said it helped some militants. Now, why would Ukraine do that? Because Mali is working with Russia, with Russian mercenaries from the Wagner group. They're operating in Mali. The Russians are helping Mali fight terrorists and separatist rebels in the country. Ukraine did not care about that, though. It just saw the Russian mercenaries. A Ukrainian intelligence spokesperson said that his country had helped the rebels, and those rebels carried out a devastating attack. Dozens of Malian troops and Russian mercenaries were killed in the attack. And that is what angered Mali, leading it to cut ties with Ukraine. The same anger has spread across the border to Niger. Remember, this is the same nation where Russian flags were raised last year. So we know that it was pro-Russia. Now it is also anti-Ukraine. Moscow accuses Kiev of opening an African front. If that is true, then the West African nations have chosen their side. The recent diplomatic moves and the Nigerian protesters waving the Russian flag, they show that Moscow's clout continues to grow in West Africa.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to